And as I've said before in previous reviews and discussions about M. Night Shyamalan's films, he, for whatever reason, writes his characters and directs his actors in such a way that makes them feel like lifeless, awkward automatons, as if human speech and the English language is a foreign, almost alien concept to them. The characters talk in this awkward, stilted way that ranges from being horrifically awful to, and a lot of the times, unintentionally funny. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to my review for Trap. Well, it's that time of the year again where M. Night Shyamalan has graced us with whatever slop he's made for the cinema. I know that sounds kind of mean, starting off with that, but again, like I said before, I just got out of the theater for Trap only a couple of hours ago, and I'm not going to pretend that this is a good movie or even halfway decent. I'm not going to lead you guys on and say, oh, maybe this is one of Shyamalan's better films in a filmography that's a mixed bag, to say the least. And I think I'm being pretty kind by saying that, too. Look, Shyamalan has made some great movies, some excellent films in his career. I love The Sixth Sense. I think it's one of the defining films of the 1990s. I think it's one of the best supernatural fantasy horror thrillers out there. Certainly in the 90s. Great performances, a wonderful story, a fantastic twist. And I can speak very highly of Unbreakable, you know, a deconstructive superhero film in a time where that concept was just, I mean, in general, it's just ahead of its time. There was nothing like that. That was still back in the day when they were trying to get superhero films right. Like, that movie was out, even before stuff like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. So I have a lot of appreciation for that movie. And he's also done even some good things, like later on, like The Visit in the early 2010s, which was a nice surprise. It was even kind of reminiscent of his early days as a filmmaker in the late 90s and the early 2000s when he was impressive. but the man has made more bad movies than good films at this point. Bad movies like Lady in the Water and The Happening, although I do find that film very, very funny, unintentionally funny. That's one of his better bad films. But then other movies like After Earth, Glass, Old, and what I consider to be just one of the worst theatrically released films ever made, The Last Airbender. At the very least, one of the worst films made this century. A film so bad that it changed the trajectory of the Avatar: The Last Airbender franchise for a decade. And now only recently has that franchise been able to recover, though the recent live-action show certainly hasn't helped it. But in any case, the man has made some bad shit. And like I said at the top, Trap is another bad M. Night Shyamalan movie for a variety of reasons. Both familiar reasons, but also some new ones, too. I gotta give M. Night Shyamalan that. He has some new bad things that he's added to his filmmaking style. To be somewhat positive, I think the premise is interesting and exciting, as a concept. You have a serial killer played by Josh Hartnett who attends a concert, for a pop star, with his daughter. A nice, daddy-daughter day. But in reality, we are informed by very talkative merchandise vendors, very talkative merch vendors, that the entire concert is actually a ruse, a trap by the FBI to capture the serial killer known as the Butcher, who is, of course, played by Hartnett. And listen, speaking of Hartnett, it is great to see him pop up and be featured in more things again, both TV shows and films. Obviously, more recently, he was in Oppenheimer. I thought he did a great job in that. But, he took a break from acting. He disappeared from the public eye for a while. Apparently, he was dealing with, some crazy like stalkers, and it just really stressed him out and his family out and everything, and that's why he went away for a while, but he wanted to come back, and so far, at least before Trap, he was making some great stuff. Again, Oppenheimer, and more even before that, Black Mirror. His performance in Black Mirror was quite good, and so people are like, oh, it's nice to see him, and he's doing the best job that he can. He's doing the best job that he can with the material he's forced to work with. He's pretty much I think of him as like the James Bond, Ethan Hunt, and MacGyver of serial killers. Just able to get out of situations because he's just so damn clever, crazy, and lucky. Just what a trifecta. And also just helps that every other character he comes across, including the FBI and law enforcement, they are just so dumb in this movie. Very, very dumb. Comedically dumb. Outside of that, outside of what he's able to do, despite all the horrible things that he has to say, this movie fucking sucks through and through. And as I've said before in previous reviews and discussions about M. Night Shyamalan's films, he, for whatever reason, writes his characters and directs his actors in such a way that makes them feel like lifeless, awkward automatons, as if human speech and the English language is a foreign, almost alien concept to them. The characters talk in this awkward, stilted way that ranges from being horrifically awful to, and a lot of the times, unintentionally funny. I can almost give like a little leeway to Hartnett, since he's kind of like playing a psychopath that struggles with his facade, his human facade. But what's the excuse for everyone else in the movie? Why is everyone else acting so goddamn awkward? It's utterly bizarre. And since he's been doing it really ever since Lady in the Water, I mean, I would also argue ever since maybe Signs, right? That's when we really started to notice it. It's just become his trademark as a filmmaker. And I can't for the life of me understand why he insists on writing such terrible characters and awful dialogue, and then directing his actors in such an odd, awkward way. And everyone in the movie acts that way, from Hartnett to Alison Pill to Haley Mills, all great actors, who don't have a history of doing this. It's him. It's him. And it's weird because if you watch The Sixth Sense or Unbreakable, like, people aren't acting that way. They're having natural conversations. They sound like human beings. They are displaying emotion, a variety of emotion, on a spectrum of emotions, but not in this. Now, despite all of that, the bad directing, the writing, the wretched dialogue, awkward scene after awkward scene, the worst thing about this movie is indeed the fact that it's a trap. So get Admiral Akbar in here to say the thing. We are trapped by M. Night Shyamalan for an hour and 45 minutes, an agonizing 1 hour and 45 minutes, so we can bear witness the talent or lack thereof of his daughter. Not the one that directs, the other talentless one. The singer and actress, quote unquote, Seleka Shyamalan, or Seleka Shyamalan. Let me know how to say her name. I didn't know this going in, or maybe I did and I forgot for a time, but she's the pop star. She's the singer at the concert, Lady Raven or Lady Blackbird or whatever the hell her name is. And we're forced to watch her perform several sets of her actual generic pop music, but she also becomes a major character in the film. And she is no actress, not in any capacity. It doesn't help that she's being directed by her father and has to say his dialogue, his wretched dialogue, but she gives the weakest performance in the movie. And that's saying something, because no one is giving a good performance in this film outside of Hartnett, maybe. But it's just so gross to me that so much of this movie is focused on M. Night's daughter and promoting her music, her album, her soundtrack, and making her a major character in this film. It's one of the most egregious cases of nepotism that I've seen in film. And perhaps, I mean, ever. I'm trying to think of like any other examples, but it's up there. It's in the top 10. It's in the top 5. Hell, it probably is in the top 3 cases of just disgusting nepotism. It almost makes me want to apologize to John David Washington and all the stuff I've said about him. Almost makes me want to apologize. You know, perhaps this thriller could have been good in the hands of another writer director. I know it would be. It would be infinitely better in the hands of another filmmaker and of another director or writer. The concept is interesting. It's cool. It's unique. But all of Shyamalan's worst tendencies are on full display in this film. It's one of the worst movies that I've seen this year. And I've seen some crap. I've seen some bullshit. Madam Web, Rebel Moon Part 2, Imaginary, Argyle, you name it. And while maybe it's not as bad as stuff like The Last Airbender or maybe After Earth, which, again, I think you make an argument those are 2 of the worst movies made this century. They're certainly up there. It's very much another blemish on the already stained career of M. Night Shyamalan. And it's definitely one of the worst movies so far in 2024. For old, familiar, nostalgic reasons, but also for some new ones as well. I can't believe the nepotism on full display in this movie. It's shocking. But what about you guys? What for those of you who saw Trap? What did you think of the movie? Did you actually like the film? Did you actually dig it? Were you more mixed on, or did you just kind of downright despise it like myself? As always, let me know. 5 minutes later. What about you, chap? What'd you think? Naya, you did not see Trap, and you know what? You don't need to. But good to see you, Naya. Hope you're doing well. Let me see you guys just saying. Warrior Within, welcome to stream. He said Salika is talentless, which could be farther from the truth. I'm not a big fan. Oh, man. I made a full album for this. Oh, okay. The movie doesn't suck. I know many people who like, and that's fine. Listen, as a Warrior Within, good, welcome to stream. Totally fine. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that do enjoy this movie. I just happen to not like it for the various reasons that I provided. Let's see you guys are saying here. But good to see you, Nia Brownie. He also just didn't like the general idea of being Josh Hartnett. Sure. Premise made me give M. Night the benefit of the doubt. Me too. Like, listen, the marketing for this movie was solid. I gotta admit. It was, they had some really good trailers. But then I started to get, again, I always in the back of my head, I'm like, I just don't trust him as a filmmaker. I just don't, based on his past films, the last, 20 or so years. But the thing that, again, red flag, the alarm, the alarms were going off in my head was the fact that they weren't screening this for critics. And the reason that was provided is because, there's this big twist. There's no fun. I mean, is there a twist in the movie? I don't think so. Maybe. You can look and be like, I guess that's kind of twisty in a way. There's no big fucking twist. There's not a twist on the same level as something like from The Sixth Sense. Like Bruce Willis was dead the whole time. Or Samuel L. Jackson was behind all these horrific accidents trying to find his opposite. A person with an unbreakable body, right? There's nothing on that level. It's just... Yeah, it was a ruse. It was just to I mean, they were just trying to cover their tracks. They were lying. That's what it was. Oh man. You don't like NPCs? No. That's a great way to describe them, Human the Black Human. You're right. They talk like non-playable characters, like NPCs in a video game. I mean, but there's still a lot of great NPCs like now in video games, but they're like old school NPCs. Where they're just there to give you the direction to your next quest, and they just stare at you with these lifeless eyes, these cold, dead eyes, and they just go about their business. Then if you interact with them again, they're just going to tell you the exact same thing. That is a wonderful way to describe the performances in that movie. I wish I fucking thought of that. Damn, brilliant. Very smart. Very smart. Michigan Moore. So it's another straight to the Walmart $5 bin movie. Yeah, I think so. But where were they? But you liked the movie. Nothing wrong with that. I think that's totally fine. I just didn't like it. I didn't care for it. Zalika's not talentless. Have you seen her act? She made a full album for this? I know. The reason why I know she made a full album for this film, because they play the full album in the movie. That I definitely know. Super Nepo Baby, 100%. Yeah. I'd say both this and The Watchers are his After Earth, but then I remembered he directed that one too. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. That's the thing. History was made. I said this in my Odd Theater reaction. History was made this year. We got 2 bad Shyamalan movies. He didn't direct The Watchers, but his daughter did, and his fingerprints are all over it. You can just kind of tell, like, his sensibilities passed on to his children. Certainly the director. Yeah. Let's see. M Night is in the chat. It's like, Worry Within. Are you another M Night? Are you an alt account? Is this an alt account? Oh man, it's funny. Katrina, that sucks. It looked promising from the trailer. It did. But yeah, I did not like it. Shyamalan's a third daughter, so we can look forward on him pushing her out as well. Yeah. Oh no. Maybe she's not gonna get involved in the film industry. I'm gonna see the movie tomorrow. I don't think it'll be good, but let me know if you like it. Please inform me. Oh man. Or no surprise, you're actually in Unbreakable Universe or something. No, nothing like that. Unless there was something in the background that I totally missed. Let me ask you, what do you mean this movie that I knew was gonna sucked? I don't think First Omen screens for critics. That's true. And there are exceptions. There are exceptions to the rule. Like First Omen, for example, was not screened for critics, and that movie ended up being great. It was a huge surprise. One of my favorite movies this year. I mean, there's countless examples of that. There's no doubt. But I think with the fact that it was announced that they're not screened for critics, and it also happened to be an M. Night Shyamalan movie, is like, that ain't good. And then for them to say the reason was because it has a big twist, not really. They were just lying. Yeah. Oh no, where they could stick around. That's fine. You know, again, this review, it's my opinion on the film. It's my opinion on the movie. I didn't care for it. And, you know, seeing the performance of Salika Shyamalan, I'm just like, that girl can't act. Now, again, it doesn't help that she is being directed by her father, and she has to say his dialogue because he's not good at, you know, clearly in this movie, not good at those things. So it didn't work for me. Yeah. Colin Fake said, yeah, there's a stinger. It's don't believe me. It's more of a joke type of thing. If what you're referring to, yeah, it's more of a comedic little thing. Yeah. Colin Fake, so at what point do we just admit M. Night sucks? The good movies he made were a mistake. That's the thing that I've gone back, you know, to constantly it's just he made those 2 amazing films in The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, and I love those. Those are great movies. But then afterwards, and then I mean, he definitely was riding high in his ego for a number of years. You know, being called like Entertainment Weekly and all those magazines, the next Steven Spielberg, which was ridiculous. Especially after he just made like The Sixth Sense, and everyone started saying that about him. It's like, whoa, hold on. But he bought into that, and yeah. But it's just his filmmaking style just shifted dramatically, and I don't know why. I would love. No one will ask him this, but I would love it if someone just said like, why did you start like directing your actors and writing your dialogue so differently like post these films? It's because it's noticeable. It's very noticeable. And I'm like, I'm not the only one that has said that. There's been many other reviewers and critics and I mean, and just regular people that have picked up on that. And I for the life of me, I don't understand. It's so bizarre. But yeah. Yeah, he got, you know, he definitely got caught up in his own hype bubble. Yeah, totally. Yeah, this movie, rough. Very rough. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, if you guys check it out, please do. Let me know what you think. I mean, you're going to get what you're going to get. You know. There's no big surprises. There's no epic sort of twist that makes everything like make sense. It's just, you know, it's very kind of like straightforward. It's a very generic thriller, honestly. like the concept, the premise, like where it takes place, I think is unique, but it kind of plays out like what you would expect it, how you would expect it would. So no Jeremy Renner music unless you count his daughter's music, her generic pop music. Where's the rank of his other movies? Oh my God. I mean, it's not as bad as The Last Airbender and After Earth, which, I mean, that would be amazing. It's around the same territory as, God, like around Old. I think this might be even worse than Old. It's around that territory for me. Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi raided. I should have mentioned Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi raided the costume department at Tyler Perry's compound. I don't know what the hell, why he was in this movie. He is. They got him in some ridiculous outfits and wigs. I was like, what are you doing? It's how's Kid Cudi? Don't even ask. Not very good. Not very good. Which is sad because he proved himself to be a good actor. He was excellent in X. Loved him in that film, but yeah, they got him just acting whack. Everyone, no one's, the thing is, like, no one's good in this movie. Because of how poorly M. Night Shyamalan is directing all of them and all the dialogue they're given. It's just, the dialogue ranges from just being like cringe and awful to being unintentionally funny in moments where it shouldn't be. You know, it's that awkwardness. Like, there are people in my theater just laughing in a moment that is supposed to be serious. That's played for seriousness. Like, oh, this is a big, and it's people just start laughing. Yeah, it was work. Oh, Christ. Yeah, all the so ridiculous I had to laugh. Yeah, it's on that same level as stuff like Old and Glass and like it's like around those movies. I mean, you know, maybe even like Lady in the Water territory. It's just so bad. It's a bad film. Warrior Within. Goodbye. I am not going to sit here listening to your negative reviews that you give when the movie isn't bad. You don't know everything that went into this movie, and you don't appreciate, like, the music Saliko wrote, especially for this movie. 8 tracks. I know it was 8 tracks. Warrior Within, because they played her entire album in the movie. Well, Warrior Within, I goodbye. Thank you for stopping by. You freaking freaks! You freaking freaks! What will you learn? Your actions will have consequences. Thank you, Warrior Within. Well, have a good time. You can stop by at any point in the future. You know, maybe the next time. Hey, stop by for the next M. Night Shyamalan review, where I imagine he'll also feature his daughter and her music again. I imagine it'll make up the entire soundtrack of the film, like it does for this entire movie. Have a good time. Bye-bye. Man, it's been a hot minute, Jay. It's been a hot minute since we had... I mean, listen, as I've always said before, it's as I've maintained. Like what you like, dislike what you dislike. I didn't like this movie, but if you loved the movie, if you thought this is M. Night Shyamalan's best film, if this is one of your favorite movies of the year, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. It's like you liked it for all your reasons, you know? And that's fine. This is just my opinion, you know? It's just weird. That someone would get, you know, so mad. You know, I mean, well, is anyone else saying similar things to me? You know, or I might be the outlier. But even then, if I am the outlier, you know, I still think that's okay. You should encourage his daughter at her film debut. Well, that's not my job to encourage her in her film debut. You know, my job as a reviewer, as a critic, as someone that likes to talk about movies, is what I like and didn't like. Like, and that's at a basic level. To provide you the reasons why I didn't think this worked or why this thing did work. And for me, in the movie, she didn't work. So the reason why so much of her, well, first of all, she's mostly there just so her music can be promoted. And then when she's featured as a major character in the film's back half, she's not doing very well. Her acting's bad, in my opinion. But to be fair, so is everyone else's acting. Maybe the exception of Josh Hartnett, but he's struggling to deliver some of these lines. Again, not his fault, you know. So yeah, I mean, I don't know why I should, you know, encourage her if I don't feel like she's doing a good job. You know, I hope she gets better. I think it would be nice not to be so hard on her. Man, you are a big fan of Salika Shyamalan, which is fine. That's okay. It's, I don't think she was very good in the movie. I feel like, the reason why she's in the movie to begin with is because she's the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan. I feel like that's on full display. I think this is a blatant example of nepotism. I feel like, you could have cast any other actress in that role, or certainly any other singer or pop. I mean, she's clearly supposed to emulate people like a Taylor Swift, or any other big pop singer, out there. It's like, why don't you go for like one of those, actors? Why her? Why her? And the reason why, despite her not being a very good actor, is because she is probably the daughter. She is the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan. So, I'm not, like, if you like the movie and if you liked her performance, I'm not telling you you're wrong. That's your opinion. In my opinion, I don't think she did a very good job, and that's fine. We can agree to disagree. So, any case, what are you going to do? Warrior Within, as always, you're welcome to stick around. I'm not here to shame you whatsoever. We can agree to disagree. We can still have fun. I'm gonna keep reviewing movies, and you can keep watching movies and reviewing movies and everything else. But I'm not gonna, I'm not going to lie about how I feel about a film. I'm gonna give my earnest and honest opinion. So, any case. Oh, as far as Shyamalan versus Shyamalan goes, who would you say is the better film, him or his daughter? I think The Watchers is better than this. I think The Watchers is not a good movie, but that film was more interesting. Just like the whole, okay, what are these creatures? I mean, as we found out, as the film went along, it's like, okay, it kind of became less and less interesting. But like how the tension was handled in that film. You had the parrot. The parrot was charming as fuck. I did like the parrot and everything. I think aesthetically it was more interesting, to look at. I also do like a bottle film too, like a bunch of characters in isolated location, not like any place to go. There's some sort of monstrous entity outside, right? It had that going for it. But this one, it just, outside of its concept, its general premise, it doesn't really have anything else going for it. Maybe aside from Hartnett. But again, he's struggling to deliver this really wretched dialogue, as everyone else is in the movie. And then so much of it just feels like a promotional piece for one of M. Night Shyamalan's kids. And I just think that's egregious. Embarrassingly. So, as far as Shyamalan versus... Oh, I just read that. Is this Christopher? I'm going to say what I want to say. Oh man, I don't want to start anything. But I'm going to say how I feel about something. Yeah. What are you gonna do? Encourage your color every time it was so. They have the same acting ability. Debate is good. Should be encouraged. Sure. I'm not, but again, I'm not one of those guys that's saying like you're wrong for thinking this way. It's like I think that's personally, I think that's a ridiculous thing to say. I think we can have these differing opinions on it. Like film is very, it's like art is subjective. Art is incredibly subjective. And what I might find brilliant, you may find dumb, and vice versa. And there's nothing wrong with that. We can just agree to disagree. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, nor do I think you should tell me that I'm wrong either, but that's just me. This is how I feel. Okay, she was not good acting-wise, but at least give her okay, all right, thank you. Okay, she was not good acting-wise, but at least give her credit for the music she wrote and her performance on stage. I can't. I can't do it. I can't do it because so much of that was, again, it's just a puff piece with her in the movie. I will say this. I think her singing and her performance is better than her acting. How about that? How about we meet halfway? How about we do that? We'll meet halfway. I think her musical performance and what she wrote like for her music is better than her acting. How about that? I think that's good. I think that's reasonable. Maybe she'll pull a Sofia Coppola and win an Oscar doing something else. That might happen. Watchers had a good mystery to it, but just ended in a whimper, yeah. It's a bad sign when the animal is the best actor. Yeah, I know. It's not good. It's not good. M. Night named a rapper mid-sized sedan, which is not good. Yeah, I know. So you recognize Hartnett was good in the movie. Oh, man. Warrior, you're cracking me up. You're funny. Honestly, the only film I've seen of his since Brickle's Knock at the Cabin, and you like that one? Yeah, Knock at the Cabin is much better than this. Much better than this. Like, Batista was legitimately, like, really good in that movie. He was the standout. Oh, man. Here we go. Wish Mid-Sized Sedan was the opening. That would be hilarious. That'd be great if there was, it's like, oh, shit, and this takes place in the universe of old. A whole new cinematic universe by M. Night Shyamalan, from the mind of M. Night Shyamalan.